Hey everybody, I'm Greg Sowell, and this is Why Am I, a podcast where I talk to interesting people and try and trace a path to where they find themselves today. So my guest this go-around is Jayse O'Brien. This fella is a man of many talents. He's a voice-over artist, an over-the-top foodie, an actor or reactor, and a Costco dad, or maybe a Kirkland dad. I'm not sure which he prefers, his nom de plume there. So what strikes me the most about Jayse is his insanely high energy and his obvious zest for life. And by the way, he wants to bring everyone along with him, which I think is really cool. There's some definite parallels between the two of us, and I'm not just talking about our love for 90s pop culture, though this might be the most significant one. At any rate, I hope you enjoy this fast-paced conversation with Jayse. Jayse, thank you for joining me on the Why Am I podcast today, man.
Thanks for having me, Greg. Appreciate you, man.
100%, dude. Well, you are already one of the most energetic, interesting, yes and kind of people I've talked to thus far, and we've only made it through the warm-up. Dude, I've just got you in the entryway. Like, we haven't even sat in the chairs. Mics are ready to go. Here we go. So, I ask one question genuinely to everybody, and that is, who are you? But I'm not just asking what you do for a living, because that's normally everybody's go-to, right? And that is part of it, but it's also, how do you see yourself, right? Everybody sees you as somebody different. Your mom, your kids, your friends, you know, everybody sees you as somebody different. Only you see you as you, man. So tell me, who are you, Jayse?
I'm an entertainer, man. My entire life, I've always just wanted to make people laugh, and I've always just wanted to kind of be the center of attention because I'm an only child. So for me, it was like performing, doing impressions of like Saturday Night Live for my family since I was maybe 5, 6 years old, and coming in and doing like a Chris Farley impression for my uncles and making them all laugh. And I've been addicted to that feeling since I was a kid. Everyone in my family, like, we rib each other, we roast each other, and that's like how we show our affection. So we'd like, when we go camping, we sit around a campfire and everyone just like tells stories and rips on each other. So from that upbringing, I feel like I've always just been kind of like the class clown who was trying to get the teacher to laugh. So I'm constantly seeking people's approval through humor. I need constant validation because I'm delicate like a flower.
Oh my gosh, Jayse, that was such an amazing start to this podcast. You're doing so great, guy.
Yes, thank you. Oh God, I need those ego strokes. I need those pats on the back. I'm a Leo too. I need my main strokes constantly.
So an entertainer, man. I love it because that could mean so many different things. And for those of you listening, I always do this main episode, and then I'll release the warm-up exercise a little bit later. And it sounds like that extends to food. And you know, I've kicked around the idea of, in the fantasy restaurant, asking some people sometimes, what meal would you like me to eat? Like, build me the most amazing meal. And I think you, above anybody else, would be exceptional at that.
Oh, I would curate the most incredible tasting menu for you, Greg, based on just the little knowledge I have now, because I do very little asking questions and just talk about myself mostly. But I do know that you love spicy pumpkin pie. So just, I think based on that, yeah, we would do like a nice wintry tasting menu with some root vegetables and maybe a nice piece of steak. I don't know. Are you into duck? You like duck? Do you like chicken? Do you like
everything?
You
I like everything. Yeah.
That's what I like to hear. Oh yeah. We'd go on a journey, Greg. It would be glorious.
I believe it. But to me, like, we say entertain, that also can like extend to just making people happy, right?
Yeah. That's just a springboard. This is free therapy, right? Is that
100%?
I don't have to pay for this. So so I grew up with a single mom, and like my dad wasn't a part of my life, and my mom is mentally ill, so she has bipolar. So, and she's manic depressive. So, hopefully you're not watching this, Mom, but I love you anyway, if you are. So, there was always like this up and down roller coaster of, highs and lows. That's just kind of the nature of mental illness. So I would always try to cheer her up. Right. So like if she was down, I wanted to do whatever I could to try to make her happy. And that translated into so much people pleasing in my life, which now, from actually doing therapy, I've learned is not always so healthy. But I remember the first time that I became like self-aware of it, I was like 19. I was in a band called Roundabout Way with some buddies, and the lead guitarist and the songwriter was also kind of bipolar, and he was really in a down, and we were living together, and I was doing like everything I could to try to cheer him up, and I'm like, come on, man, let's go do this, like, let's go, we'll go to this place, we'll go to this restaurant, or let's go to this party or whatever. And he finally was just like, Jayse, I want to be sad. I want to be depressed. Please stop trying to cheer me up. That's not your job. And I was like, whoa, it was just like a eureka moment. I was like, oh, it's not my job to cheer up sad people? Like, I thought that was like my calling. So that was, so thanks, Brian Blake, for yelling at me, because I needed that.
It's so funny, like those tiny little moments. And sometimes, like, for people, that might have been in like a throwaway line for him. And like,
oh, absolutely.
It like just entirely impacts the trajectory of your life. Isn't that?
Yeah, I haven't thought about that. Like, I haven't thought about that in years, but just from your prompt, like, that made that memory just kind of come up. And I have zero filter, so whatever comes to the dome is coming right out, Greg. So sorry in advance for whatever I say.
I'm here for it.
Inappropriate or offensive, or I've turned off the swearing. My stepdad like didn't like swearing in the house, so like I have this ability, just like when I'm at React to, like, YouTube doesn't like swearing, so like I have to just like turn it off. But normally I am so foul and I curse constantly. So I'm trying to be a good boy today.
I am as well. It's a constant struggle. So this is good practice for me to keep it. Although I don't care what anybody says on this. It's like, just be authentically you.
Oh yeah,
Cause
I know no other thing. I know no other way, man. When people are like, he's a character, it's put it on a show, I'm like, just come hang out with me for like one day. I promise you that there is zero acting. It is just me through and through.
Yeah. Or I've heard some people say, just spend like 5 minutes in my head. And
oh my God. Yeah, you don't want to do that. You don't want to do that. I don't wish that upon anyone.
So you said you're ADD and a little bit of OCD as well?
Yeah, definitely. I know for sure that I'm ADHD, but and then I think everyone I work with is also like, I'm pretty sure you're OCD, Jayse. That I look at all the tendencies. It's a self-diagnosis. Like somebody. Yeah. We all did that during the pandemic. We're like, I think I am on the spectrum. So I always like to say, I got a touch of the tiz, definitely. So I don't know how it manifests itself, but definitely some stimming and some quirks. And I did a lot of this blink that I've hidden from people for years and years. When I'm on camera, I'll look down like this to get the tick out so that people don't see it. But from being on React, people catch it in the comments, and they're like, Jayse is doing this like weird blinking thing. And I'm like, fuck. Well, like, they're going to be.
How funny. That's funny that like people go out of their way to like point that out.
Yeah, they're like, oh, haircut, braces. And I'm like, fuck, is he talking about me? So I still had the long hair. People would be like, cut it. You look like a hippie.
Yeah, it's kind of like, I don't know, man. It makes me think of that line from like Pirates of the Caribbean where Johnny Depp is like, he says you're the worst pirate I've ever heard of. And he's like, yeah, but you have heard of me. So it's like, it's like, oh, they see me. They noticed me.
So you're saying you know me. Perfect.
Yeah, I'm that guy.
That's all my ego needs is the recognition.
Oh, man. Well, that's interesting. Yeah, because like as soon as you... I grew up as an only child as well, and
oh, you did? Okay.
Yeah, or not only child. I say that I had a single mom and I had a sister. For me, it was very positive that it was just a single mom, because the dude that was my biological wasn't a good cat, so it was good that he finally got out of there. But my sister's like
how old were you when he got out of there?
Oh man, I think like 5, 6, somewhere in there.
Okay, so you're old enough to remember.
Old enough to remember the bad parts. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah,
and your sister's older. I cut you off. I apologize.
Yeah. She's kind of like slightly paranoid schizophrenic, so also a bit dangerous. So it was fun. I went from like one interesting environment to a completely new interesting dynamic, and that's where I started developing my sense of humor as well. I was like, let me deflect, let me change, let me
yes.
Chameleon.
What am I doing wrong? Yeah, be a chameleon, exactly.
Yeah.
Man, I feel you, brother.
Yeah, it's so funny though how much that has served me in life. being able to slip into any situation, and I can genuinely talk to just about anybody at this point. I mean, I can't convince them that I can't convince people that I'm normal, but I can slip into just about any situation.
Boring. Who's normal? Have you honestly ever met anyone that's normal? Who the fuck is normal? You know?
Oh my gosh, dude. There's a comedian, Catherine Ryan, who's like Canadian, but she lives in the UK. Have you ever heard of her?
If I saw her face, I don't know. Sometimes I'm bad with names, but maybe I've heard one of her bits.
She did this stand-up special, and this one bit really stood out to me, like how she was so weird as a kid, and she went back home for her sister's wedding, and these friends of her sister were talking about how weird she was in high school, and how they told Catherine that you're not normal, and she goes, "Oh, honey, you're not normal, you're ordinary." And I was like, "Oh my God!" Like that was like a light bulb moment. It's like, because she was telling these people, "You're ordinary. I would never want to be like," I was like, "Holy cow, that's like me." Like, there's all these weird groups of people that I just never quite, like meshed in with, and it's like they just seemed so boring. I couldn't stand it.
Yeah. Oh, that I feel on an emotional level for sure. That was like
very freeing.
I was never part of like one group or clique. Like I had my best buds, but then like I would hang out with all the different groups of people. Like there was no like I'm only hanging out with these people. Like I just always went wherever people were laughing at my jokes.
Yeah, I would have never guessed from the guy who had 4 different drinks, 5 different main courses. Yeah, that you liked variety.
I do have a hard time making up my mind too. I did like an 80s podcast one time for React, and they were like, just come up with your 3 top 80s movies. I sent in a list of 27 movies. They were like, narrow it down. And I was like, I can't.
Oh, man, that's so tough. Like, I've noticed too, like if anybody ever asks me like what my favorite movie is, it's like so hard because it's like amorphous. It moves. It's like, why choose one? Like, it's what am I feeling like right now? Like it might change day to day.
In the moment. That's like, I am so like just kind of take life as it comes, you just like fall and figure it out on the way down, to quote Del Close. But
yeah, I like that too, because it feels like you're more adaptable, so you can adjust to any life situation. Because I've seen some people, they'll have a plan put in place, and as soon as something goes wrong, everything falls apart. Like they're upset, and the day is just ruined.
Yeah, that's why I never plan anything.
Oh, that's what it is. It's
my wife loves it. My wife loves it. Yeah, and somehow everything always works out.
100%.
You just gotta trust the universe, man. It's gonna provide for you as long as you are putting out some good energy. You're gonna get it back in return.
Yeah, but I dig it. Like genuinely, folks like you, I think, tend to be happier on the whole because you are so much more flexible. Like you're not so set in your ways.
I mask it well, don't I? Yeah.
Do you feel like you? This is another trait I'm curious about. Do you feel like you take in a lot of new information? You learn a lot of new things. Like kind of pick up stuff pretty fast.
Yeah, I would say I think that goes along with being. Are you ADD at all as well? It's like I hyper focus on something, and then like I'll like do a deep dive into something, learn like as much as I can, just so I can have a conversation about it. Like my whole thing is like I know a little about a lot. I don't know a lot about a specific subject, but I mean, yeah, I am, like you call me, Rain Man. Like when it comes to just random knowledge that I would never need ever in my life other than to be on a YouTube show and be quizzed.
Dude, when you get on there, you are locked in. It's like, I love how on that show, other people that they know that you're participating as well, they're just like, and cut to Jayse, because they know you've got the answer, dude. It's like, you're there. And like, all right, it's like, well, obviously this guy's got it. I feel
bad. Like sometimes people are like, they see it, like, because sometimes we don't know like who we're filming with until like just before, right? And then they're like, I'm against Jayse today. Or you don't like know what the game is going to be. So they're like, I'm against Jayse in a music trivia. Like, I don't have a chance.
Yeah.
So when people win, like, I even like root for other people. I'm like, you did it. Like, good job. And I don't mean that like to be like braggadocious. I'm just like, hey man, that's awesome that like somehow you beat this insane brain of mine that just only has junk in here.
Yeah. And I also genuinely like, I like how you, whenever you have somebody on there, I mean, you're you're gonna beat them. Like there's zero chance in the world. But I see
there's
you
like two people, like Martine and Alex. They always give me a really run for my money, especially when it comes to like movies and pop culture and music, for sure.
But I see you being very generous every time. I see you giving hints. I see you helping. I'm sure they edit a ton out too. But
for sure, they edit most of my content out, I would say, because I talk too much. They're always like, Jayse, sound bites. Can we keep it more concise? As I'm just like, I'm telling like a 6-minute story about air frying a chicken. They're like, we're not going to include that. And I'm like, but it's the Instant Pot. You don't understand. I love the Instant Pot. They're like, we're not sponsored by Instant Pot, Jayse. Stop with the chicken story. I'm like, but I make really good bone broth.
Right. Air frying is going to change your life, guys. Come on.
Yes. Yeah. I don't know why I don't even know why I said air fryer. I just meant the Instant Pot. But
no,
air
you
fryer
said
is
Instant
also
Pot.
cool.
No.
I said air fryer, and then I was like, wait, no, Instant Pot. Why did I say air fryer? That's just my brain.
Yeah, I love it, man. I love it. No, it's so cool. Like, it's you strike me as the kind of person that you want everybody kind of come along with you. Like, you don't want to just excel in your, because I've done that before too, where it's like, you elevate, you get to some level, and if there's nobody with you, it's lonely, man. You got to bring your friends with you.
Yeah. I mean, I was an only child. I was so alone all the time. I was such a lonely kid who just, I valued that alone time. And yes, I usually love to be surrounded with people. But now that I'm a dad and I get zero free time for myself, now I'm going back to be like, leave me the fuck alone. I just want, like, can I just play Elden Ring for like an hour and like no one talks to me? But I don't actually get that time. So one day.
Yeah.
I'll get to play video games again.
I remember there was a time where you could even go to the bathroom by yourself. Then once you have kids, it's like there is no safe place anymore.
No, you have kids?
Yeah. I have two. But mine are pretty much out the door.
Grown.
They're 19 and 16.
Wow. Okay. You are in the teenage years that everybody loves to just warn me about. Like, you're in for it once they're teenagers.
Yeah.
You got 2 girls. Good luck, buddy. And I'm like, yeah, thanks. Thanks for that vote of confidence. I appreciate it.
You know what? It's like my boys were easy. Like, and like all the way up and like 13, they were still easy. I was like, what's everybody complaining about? And then somebody told me, like, with teenagers, like, your number one goal is just to keep them alive. And I was like, oh, yeah, sure.
That's
and
relatable. Yeah.
And then, holy cow, man, sometimes it's like, that's all we shoot for. You know what I mean? Like, that's the bar. Are they still breathing?
Don't die today. Just don't die.
Yes,
don't break a bone again, please, today.
Yeah. I heard somebody talk about kids one time, and they said it's like taking your heart out of your chest until I get to go play in traffic. And I was like, I can't think of a better description of having kids. You know, it's like you want the best, but you have absolutely no control over these little chaos goblins that are just going out there. But yeah, and it's so funny. There's this thing too where I'll see like a picture of them pop up from like 10 years ago, and it like I can feel pain in my chest. It's like, what is this? Are these emotions? Am I feeling things? What's going on? Yeah, it's so weird.
You made me feelings.
Yeah, nobody makes me feel my feelings. What the hell? Yeah, it's so weird how kids have that. And so you got 2, so you don't have to.
It's like a visual representation of time too. Like you realize how much older you're getting because you're like, oh God, I am getting old.
Yeah, well, it's hard to tell with me because I've been bald since I was like 19. So it's pretty much, it's been one dimension this whole time.
But you got that kick-ass facial hair. You have a full lush beard or a mustache. I mean, that is a man's mustache right there. Man,
everybody coped with COVID in different ways, right? Some people made sourdough.
I grew my hair out, you know. Some people made sourdough. Some people killed sourdough starter a lot. Whoops.
I mean, it is what
it is. It's hard. I'm very neglectful. It's like all my plants die too. I either overwater them or underwater them. I'm like, too much nurturing or not enough.
Oh, my days. Yeah. That's interesting. So you've got 2 kids, so you never have to worry about that single child conundrum with them. Was that always your plan?
Honestly, yeah, I've always wanted to have kids. Like being that only child, I always wanted brothers and sisters. My mom was one of 7, I was saying before, and growing up, I had so many cousins, and I would always, be hanging out with them or doing sleepovers or whatever. And I always wanted a little brother or a little sister. Like I just always wanted someone to play with. So when we had one, like we had Emma, and basically we were like, okay, we're going to have another one, right? Just so she always has someone to play with. And my wife is, she's adopted, and she has a sister who's 9 years younger than her. So they didn't like grow up together, right? Because they say usually if you're like 7 years apart, you kind of miss each other generationally, right? You don't go to school together. You don't get the same cultural references.
Right,
So
right.
now they're close, but it didn't happen until like her little sister was, 15, 16 years old. And, she's already in her 20s and trying to reestablish that relationship. So for me, seeing my cousins and seeing how close they are, I consider a lot of my cousins like my brothers and sisters. So I always wanted kids. My mom tells me that I used to like ask her if I could have a brother like all the time when I was like 2, 3 years old. And, that was just always something I wanted. So I knew I wanted to be a dad. And I told that to Lindsay, like when we first met, I was like, hey, like I want to be a dad. Like I want to have kids. I want to be the best dad ever. And I always want to be there for my kids because my dad was like, deuces, see you later. I'm out. Fuck this. So yeah, for me, it was always like a life goal to have multiple kids. But now that we have 2 and I live in Los Angeles and it's so freaking expensive, I think we're done. Like I always joke that like the next time my wife goes out of town to see her parents, that I'm just going to get snipped and not tell her.
She's going to come back. I'll be like, we can try to have another kid. I mean, the trying's the best part anyway.
Oh, practice makes perfect.
Practice makes perfect. Absolutely.
Yeah, you don't do anything by half measures, Jayse. I
No,
get it.
you got to crack a few eggs,
Yeah,
or
for sure.
fertilize a few, I'm sorry, I can't help myself with the dad jokes. They just flow.
Oh my gosh. Well, you're talking about like your dad pieced out, and that makes me think how there's been a bunch of stuff I've done in my life to spite this person who will never know I'm doing any of these things. Like he'll never know me. He'll never know my kids. Like any of that stuff. It's so funny how like our brains react to that thing. So something I do every day is I hug my kids, even though they're 16 and 19. I still hug these kids,
and they're like, "Don't hug me, Dad."
I say, "Well, I mean, they've resigned to themselves to their fate, so they understand it's coming." But
I'm still stronger than you.
Yeah, well, not so much anymore. Dude, like, because I'm 6'3", and I've got one that's 6'5", and he's about 260. And I've got one that's about 6'4", and he's about 230. They're big dudes.
Those are
right?
big boys.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And I'm in my 40s, so
it's hard to tell like how tall you are.
Yeah,
I'm
essentially
also very tall, so I'm like, but it's hard to tell.
Yeah,
I'm a shade under 6'5" myself. So
okay, you're a big dude. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna have some big daughters too. They're gonna something, get some scholarship money.
I hear you, man. So yeah,
do your
like
kids play sports? Are they athletes or?
My oldest is like a super nerd. My youngest is very athletic, but I don't know. He also doesn't want anybody to tell him what to do. So he's never done well like on a team being coached. So he'll play like pickup games of basketball and stuff like that. And he loves to go fishing. He skateboards. He's one of those kids, and stuff like that.
Yeah, he does it all.
Yeah, which is what you want when you're that tall, to be hurling yourself off of things. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Do it while
Great
you're
way
young.
to break a wrist.
Yeah, for sure, man. Get that out of your way. But yeah, I still tell him I love him every day. And it's so funny how you do like these little things. Like I won't repeat these patterns. I'll do these things that I feel like I missed out on. It's this kind of reminds me of how I was leaving this job one time, and I worked with this guy, really sweet guy named Jacob. And he was telling me all these things he liked about me, like all the, I guess, parts of my personality or something. And it's so funny, as he ticked them off, I could like directly correlate them to really messed up stuff in my past that I'm like compensating for. And I was thinking, wow, it like kind of changed my perspective. Like I guess, like all these things have changed me in these ways, because you could choose, right, how you take it. You can either turn it into something positive or negative. And
absolutely.
Yeah, it sounds like you're doing some of the same stuff. You're picking up and moving forward with it.
Yeah, honestly, it's like I think for both my partner and I, like we're healing some of our childhood trauma by trying to be better parents. Then I feel like every generation, like Jim Gaffigan has a bit about like every generation's trying to be a little bit better than like their parents, right? It's like going all the way back to cavemen. He says like, well, I didn't eat my kid. So that was better. So it's like every time, every generation gets a little bit better. And now we're part of like I'm a millennial. Are you Gen X? You're on the cusp?
I'm actually, I get to pick or choose. I'm like right there.
When are you born? 1980?
1981.
Oh, 81. Okay, yeah. So we're only 2 years apart. So yeah, you get to choose. I'm honestly like I identify more Gen X because I was raised around all my uncles and like I get all the older references. But yeah. So you understand? Wait, now that I'm like, oh yeah, I'm like thinking about my uncles is like watching Monty Python. I'm like, wait, what were we talking about again?
Yeah.
There's my. I'm like.
Yeah, for sure. Well, it's like most of my like pop culture references and stuff. Like when I was 10, I was watching Seinfeld. Like,
oh yeah, absolutely.
So it's like skewed. Like I don't think normal 10-year-olds do that kind of. Right. So it's different. I don't know.
I am also not normal. I feel you. Yeah, I was watching
yeah.
every episode of Seinfeld for sure.
For sure. So we were talking about bringing it back.
Yeah, get me back on track here. You gotta
bringing it back around. We were talking about how what the hell were we talking about just then? We were talking about how you were with your uncles and you were talking about Monty Python. Let's pivot to that, man. So this is when you developed your encyclopedic knowledge of pop culture and like
being raised by a TV basically. Like my mom worked nights and put herself through school, and the TV was the babysitter at that time. And I remember I guess I don't remember this. I have like one memory, but people would say like I would sneak down. We lived with my grandparents until I was like 5.5, and I would sneak down the stairs and my grandpa would be watching like Johnny Carson, and I would like peek around so he couldn't see me, and I would like watch late night TV at like midnight when I'm like 3 years old. So yeah, I feel like it was just like ingrained in me at an early age of like, okay, Johnny Carson, he's getting laughs. And then it was like David Letterman and Jay Leno to a lesser extent, but, just like watching late night TV and seeing like how people interview and, the way they're able to just like, establish that identification, establish common ground and be able to talk to anybody. That was always something that I was, inspired by. I feel like looking back, that was definitely like my early, I always wanted to be a talk show host. I don't know where I'm going now on this tangent, but like having that knowledge of pop culture, I kind of always wanted to be Hollywood adjacent or like a talk show host, like be able to, kick it with comedians and actors and actresses and just be able to make them laugh too, entertain the entertainers. That was always something that intrigued me, I think. But watching Monty Python like that makes me think of. So I was raised Catholic and raised past tense, right? I think a lot of people are. Sorry if you're still practicing. I apologize. But so I was in catechism, which is like a religious school to like get your confirmation when you're like in 8th grade. And I think I was, I don't know, maybe in like 2nd grade. And they were like, hey, does Jesus have any brothers or sisters? And my hand fires up and I'm like, yeah, absolutely. Jehovah. They're like, from like the life of Brian, right? And so like my mom got a talking to and they're like, Jayse thinks that Jesus has brothers. Like, why? And they're like, oh, well, he's watching Monty Python with his uncles when he's like 5 years old. So yeah, that's yeah, for me, I don't know. That's how you were like, okay, expound on the on the Monty Python. I'm like, okay, that's where I'm like A to C. How do I get back?
To me, I love that. Like, I mean, it's common ground because like we could probably sit here and talk about, late 80s and 90s pop culture references non-stop. Because like I basically raised myself on TV as well. I just sat there and watched it all the time. I mean, like during the summers when I was supposed to be out playing, I mean, I would to some extent, but then I was in there watching like, the MTV Beach House and things like that, and watching Road Rules. Yeah, but just
yeah, absolutely.
It, like, I remember like being in 4th grade and staying up late and watching Columbo. It's like, it's just like I like watched so much TV, like it was insane.
That was my grandpa's favorite. He loved Matlock and he loved Columbo.
Oh, dude, right at the end,
and MacGyver, too.
Oh, dude, I'm a huge MacGyver fan. But yeah, Columbo. One more thing right at the end. He always had to bring it home. I loved it. But I was thinking about it just recently, actually, how like it's so useless that I have all this pop culture knowledge. And like whenever it's Christmas and we go back home, I have this 90s edition Trivial Pursuit, and I just mop the floor with everyone.
I had it.
Yeah.
Absolutely, I had the same one.
Yeah. I love it.
Fucking love Trivial Pursuit. And my
Yeah,
family
dude.
like didn't want to play with me. Even when I was like a teenager, they'd be like, "No, we're good." Like,
It
did
is
you go and
absolutely-
memorize these cards? And I'm like, "No, I'm just insane."
Yeah, and even if I don't know the answer, I can probably walk myself into the answer just because I consumed so much crap in the 90s. Like, I absolutely love it. But
Where
I
is
don't know,
home? You said
if
when you go back home, where's home for you?
so I live in this little town called College Station, kind of near Houston.
Yeah,
and I grew up in Waco, which
Oh,
everybody
okay.
has heard of. Yeah.
Sure, I'm a big Nike fan too. Absolutely.
Yeah. On the compound with
On the compound.
all of my brothers and sisters.
Oh wait, no, that the Nikes was Heaven's Gate. I'm sorry, I'm confusing I'm confusing
Slightly
my cults
wrong.
here.
Yeah. Oh, I mean,
That was David Koresh. Was that
David Koresh was the Waco.
yeah, there we
one,
go,
yeah.
there we go,
And
okay.
the Heaven's
I'm
Gate.
back.
Those are
I'm
the
back.
people that were like the Comet, right?
Hail Bob. The comment.
Yeah,
Yep.
they're supposed to
all
be, yeah.
matching Nikes and everything. Yep.
Pretty sweet. I mean, if you're gonna go out, that's how you should go out. You know.
Yeah,
Matching
on a
outfits
compound
for sure.
Yeah, matching outfits, guns
I do.
blazing.
But like, and you have kids now, and so I like this is what was like popping in my head is like pop culture. So it's like there was TV, and there was only so many channels, and there was only so much to choose from. So we all have like this shared experience of pop culture, and now
Yes.
it seems so bifurcated. And honestly, I don't watch that much TV. I watch a lot of YouTube, which honestly is how I found you. But there are a handful of shows and stuff like that. But I just wonder, it's like, are kids still going to have this shared pop culture experience when they get older? I think it's.
I don't think so.
I feel like it's going to
you're-
be gone, right?
Yeah, no, I think it's already like I experienced that from working with such young kids at React.
Yeah.
They all are into different things. I think the only thing that unifies most of them is anime, which I don't know anything about. It just wasn't like big when we were kids. Like Akira was cool, but like we didn't have access to that, right? Like you said, it was like whatever was on. Like I had like the dial, with the U channel 2 through 14, and that's like all you had. I didn't have cable growing up, so it's like having that shared experience. I've talked about this a couple times with some other the producers on React of like. We were all there. Like you had no other, there wasn't anything else on. Like everyone watched the OJ chase because it was on every channel. Like you didn't have a choice to turn away from it.
I can remember that
It's
summer.
what was on, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think you've hit it like right on the nose is like all these kids have access to whatever they want. And on YouTube, it's like there's billions of different videos and so many different directions and what are you into and what do you like? It's not that shared like, oh, we all get around the TV and watch Seinfeld or we watch Friends or The Office. I feel like for me, Game of Thrones was almost like the last cultural phenomenon show that like everyone watched because it was still kind of before streaming kind of took off, right? Where you had to have the 19 different streaming platforms and it was still like that water cooler. Not that I've ever had a corporate job, but I understand the reference. Like people talked about it at work. And I just feel like there's a couple things, like there's flashes in the pan. Like I think a lot of me and my buddies like talked about the Last Dance, like the Bulls documentary or whatever when that came out. And like certain things, and like different Netflix shows, or it's like, oh, did you watch, Severance or whatever? But yeah, there's not that like where everybody knows. That's really fascinating. It's to think about that, how like it's so easy for me to establish common ground with someone who's my age because we did have all those shared experiences. Like when I go, you probably know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, dude, Thundercats. Let's go.
Absolutely. It could have been Hacksaw Jim Duggan, so I'm glad you knew the difference.
There's nuance. There's Hacksaw. You gotta have a little redneck accent in there. No, but it's just like I don't know. It kind of, I don't know. It feels like a little sad, like that. Like there's this because I remember watching In Living Color and then going to school and then kids doing like Jim Carrey bits and stuff like that.
Let me tell you something. Yeah, absolutely.
And I still remember
Fire Marshal Bill doing the the teeth.
Yeah, oh dude, it was
Homie,
insane.
don't play that. Like,
hell yeah.
In Living Color was just, I loved In Living Color.
I still remember the episode. Like I can, like it's like a flashbulb memory in my brain of when the was it the FCC like finally let people say bitch on TV, and In Living Color was like the next day they like threw it in an episode, and it like shocked me, and I was like, this is the best.
Now they drop like F-bombs. If it's like past 10 o'clock, they're like, It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia is like, yeah, they just full swear. Like it's like it's cable, it's fine.
Yeah. So wild. Things have changed. But
Things
yeah,
have
it's
changed.
like, because I was just talking to my wife about like the, they were talking about the loneliness epidemic that the CDC said that we're in the middle of, and the number one thing they cited was social media. And it's so funny, like,
Yeah.
because like the internet has like helped people find other folks, but then you like end up getting in these little tiny silos, echo chambers, and
Yeah.
you forget there's these other people that we can talk to. And yeah, there used to be like these little I feel like pop culture was a shortcut to just, you see a guy wearing a t-shirt and you start, it's like, oh, I like that thing too. You start bullshitting with him about it. But now there's just so much variety. Like, it's hard. You have to make either like shortcuts for yourself or all these little tricks to like start talking to other people. And then if it's that much extra work, it's like, why even bother? I see why it's kind of becoming a lost art.
And even if you're like trying to connect and talk with younger kids, they're like, okay, cool. Back to the phone. Like, this is not as interesting as me scrolling right now. So I'm like, wow, I'm not fun? Like, what happened?
I'm cool. I'm hip. Come on. I don't know, man. It kind of makes me feel sad. Although, I don't know, maybe something new will. I don't know. Like, even with like TikTok, that's like the new thing that I still have not broken into that.
I know. I've tried. Like, people are like, "Why do you have a TikTok?" I'm like, I don't know. I barely even do Instagram. Like, my wife pretty much does all my posting. Sorry, inside baseball there. I don't really like ever post. I'm so bad with social media because like I didn't grow up with a computer, man. Like, I was a poor kid, like I was a welfare kid. Like, we didn't have computers. Like, that was something you did at the computer lab at school. So for me, it was just like such a different experience. I don't know. It's gosh, yeah, that is. You're making me think about how tough it is to connect with like these new generations of kids. I'm like, so I gotta find a way. It's TikTok dances, right? I just have to learn the dances, and then that's their new language, right?
I don't know, because there was dances, and I think it went to challenges. Who knows what's next, man? It's gonna be a while.
I gotta study my memes. I gotta do my. I still haven't learned to floss. I know I'm like 5 years too late.
Oh my god! Why don't you start dabbing on people? That's about as relevant.
Wow.
You're so. Wow. Oh, but I have noticed if I like say old meme phrases that my kids used 4 years ago, they absolutely hate it.
Yes, it's cringe. It's very cringe, is what they say.
So delicious. Like, I could sustain myself for 2 days on it. It feels so good.
I am an energy vampire, so I don't know if you've ever watched What We Do in the Shadows. Are you familiar with that show?
Yeah, of course.
You've seen What We Do in the Shadows?
Yes, it's awesome.
So I am Colin Robinson. Like, my coworkers, one of my coworkers, Susie, she calls me Colin Robinson because I love to just feed on people. It's the best. So yeah, that lands with me for sure.
We hurt the ones we love the most. That's the way it goes.
Yeah, that's how I feed. That's what gives me life.
Sustaining ambrosia of your uncomfortableness. Yeah, I don't know. Like, it's something I've learned like through the course of doing like this. Like, doing a podcast has taught me so much just about me and life and how to interact with people. And you were making a joke about being on the spectrum. Like, that's definitely a thing for me as well, because there's like, I don't understand other humans and I don't have a lot of feelings or emotions, and this has taught me how to like kind of interact with other people and like make all these weird shortcuts and stuff. And something I've figured out is you have to like constantly be projecting who you are, and the people that need you are going to find you, and amazingly enough, sometimes the people that find you, it's like, shit, I needed them too. I had no idea. But if you don't like constantly like beam that light out, they aren't going to find you. And I've noticed through talking to you here, as well as seeing you like on React and stuff like that, you are constantly showing the world who you are. So it's like you are like the human embodiment of like that thing that I try and always do myself. And I feel like that's something that probably just comes natural to you, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's called masking. It's usually what people on the spectrum do, and that's what I have to put this outward. Like, very rarely do people get to see me like chill or turned off. If people ask Lindsay, they'll be like, "Does he ever stop?" And she's like, "Not really. No. Like, very occasionally, like if he's too baked or something like that, then he'll actually shut up." So yeah, it's, that's very relatable. Putting on like your outward, like the show. Like I put on, like my wife calls it the Jayse show. Like, you know, like if I'm around new people and there's an audience, I'm like, okay, cool. What can I do? How can I get some laughs? How can I,
you get that puppy energy going? Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Like, someone like me, someone pet me, please. Please.
You know what I found though is like, cause I have many masks myself. And I found it's like, wearing contacts. If you leave them on long enough, they weld to your eyes. Right. And so it just, like this mask, like some of these masks have just kind of become part of me, and
100%.
I don't know. Can I still take them off anymore? Like I literally have no idea. Like
that's a good question. I think maybe if you tried some ayahuasca, you might be able to remove that mask.
Yeah, trust. I've talked.
No, but
I
don't care.
I've interviewed a couple. I think I've interviewed a ayahuasca shaman before. So it's I've talked to some. So I do this thing on this podcast. I call it suspension of disbelief. So it's the same thing as like when you go to the movies, right? Like you're not freaked out by cars transforming into robots. It's like, oh, you know, it's like
you're along for the ride. Yeah,
I'm here and I'm doing this.
Buy into the premise. Absolutely.
Yeah. So the same thing in these conversations, because I've talked to ayahuasca shamans. I've talked to people that are just into hallucinogenics. I guess I've talked to several. Believe it or not, like it's just random. I talked to somebody who is a pet psychic, you know, and so it's just everybody I talk to, I go into it with, I'm fully on board. Everything you're saying is true. And I get something out of every one of those conversations. And it's like, you don't have to like 100% be on board with what the other person says. You know, you don't have to fully believe, but there's something in there that you can learn from, you can grow from, you can get something out of it, find some common ground. Like we're talking about, just you can find it's all there. You just have to give them a second or two. I have no idea how we got here, but it all started from masking and various things like that. But yeah, like showing who you are is going to attract interesting people. And I think like your energy, like talking to young people, it attracts them, right? Like you jive with young folks. Yeah,
for sure. I just because I'm trying to stay cool. A lot of times they're probably just laughing at me instead of with me, but it's still laughter. It still counts.
Yeah, you just throw in a skibbity toilet every now and then, and they're like, "Oh yeah, okay, yeah,
skibbity, yeah, absolutely, yeah."
The weirdness, man. You know what I find? Like, I occasionally get to like we have a university here, like Texas A&M University, and I occasionally get to go do like a guest lecture or something like that. And there's something about
being around. What? Are you a professor?
Lord, no. I do all kinds of weird stuff, but professor, I am not. I do some education stuff, so it ends up kind of like pulling me over there. But I've been in tech forever, and it's just
okay. So it's like tech focused.
Yeah, it's like dumb nerdy stuff. But
no, don't dumb it down. Don't self-deprecate. That's my thing. You steal my thing.
Why can't we share?
I guess. Okay, we can share.
Yeah, there you go.
I'm learning to share. My daughters are
evidently,
teaching me about sharing.
Yeah. Only child.
Only child.
It keeps coming out, brother.
Share.
Yeah. Jesus Christ.
I'm not the star anymore of the show. It's my daughters are the star of the show, and I'm like, it's a kind of a reality check. I'm like, fuck, I'm not the center of attention anymore. What?
Yeah. Oh, that hurts.
So weird.
But seriously, guys, look at me right here. Here we are. No.
Yeah. What about me? I know my daughters are cute, but what about this guy?
But there's to reel it back. There's something about like interacting with like 20-something-year-olds, like 19 to 25, that actually are interested in what you're doing, and you know, like you can have conversations. It makes me feel like younger and still valid and like important.
Yes, absolutely.
I'm assuming being able to like work with these young people, like kind of, I don't know, man. Does it energize you as well?
For sure. Oh yeah, no, I mean, it's like as soon as I walk into the studio, I'm just feeding on everybody, just constant energy drain. And so my daughter, she goes to a co-op school, and we have to work like one day a week. So there's like different stations that you can work, and I like to do bikes, which is like the vehicles area and like some pretend play and setting up like games with, you know, balls or like maybe a little basketball or whatever it is, or like a little t-ball thing. And that's the station I love to be on the most, because I just get to run around with the kids. And if I'm put on like library or art, I'm just like, I'm like, I can't feed when I'm sitting down. I have to just like run around and be like, yeah, let's go ride some tricycles. And I'll just like get on the back of one and like ride it. And they're like, Jayse, those are for the kids. I'm like, whatever. I'm playing too. So yeah, I need that, man. I love to still feel young, to still feel cool. Like I was always like the fun cousin. Like everyone would like want to have me over, until I found out later in life that everyone was like jealous that everyone was giving me attention. And they like, some of my cousins were like, well, my dad like didn't include me in the sport because he was including you. And I'm like, I didn't fucking have a dad. Like I think everyone was just like trying to step up to make sure that I didn't end up in prison. So maybe chill out, that your dad, paid some extra attention to me while we were playing basketball. Also, I'm better than you at basketball, and he wanted to win. So I'm sorry. That's just the way it is.
Yeah, and also,
that, like,
why are they trying to make it about them when everybody knows this is a Jayse show, dude?
Clearly, it's the Jayse show. And that's why a lot of my cousins probably don't talk to me anymore. But, I was the fun guy.
Now, yeah, it's like growing up, I was like super shy, super introverted, socially awkward. Like I didn't like being around crowds of people. So most of my friends were like crazy balls of energy like you. Like somehow I would be kind of the energy vampire. Like they would kind of bring me along for the ride. I used to love it.
I would always bring along like the quiet friend. Like in high school, my friend John Muir was like the kid that people picked on. And I immediately I was at a new school. I saw him. People were not paying attention to him. They were making fun of him. And I went and I was like, hey, we're going to be friends. I'm going to make you cool. You're going to become popular because you're hanging out with me. And that was like, it like became like my mission to be like, I include everyone. Like I would make fun of the people who made fun of, like I would bully the bullies, which I thought at the time was like a good idea. And then after like getting out of high school, I'm like, oh, I probably was like traumatizing that bully who was probably being like bullied by his own parent.
Yeah,
and that's why he's a bully. So looking back, I'm like, yeah, it probably wasn't the right call. So don't bully anybody. I know kids are a lot better about that today.
Yeah,
for sure.
Live and learn, you grow, right? Yeah.
You live and learn,
Yeah. But that reminds me of like the night I met my wife. It was at a teen night at a nightclub, and I went with my friend Charles. He like drugged me there, and he had his other his cousin that had just gotten out of jail, and we went with him. And I was the only one with the car, which is why I got trickling. It was interesting. It was interesting. So I was like, again, socially awkward, quiet, and so I was just sitting at the table, like not talking to anyone. Meanwhile, the dance floor is like completely empty, and Charles is out there by himself doing the worm on the floor. Like he is literally that guy. And like right towards the end of the night, the jailbird asked me like if I had talked to any girls, and I was like, no, man, of course not. He walks away for, no joke, 20 seconds, comes and sits back down, and then I don't know, 10 seconds later, my wife walks over. He just walked up to a random girl and said, hey, my friend wants to talk to you. And that was that, right? Crazy series.
That's your wife?
Yeah, that's my wife. Yeah.
Your first and last girlfriend?
No. I had a couple before that, but it was 16.
Okay.
So I was 16, so locked down pretty early. Yeah. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Which is why I was able to go bald so early. It's like, I got nothing to prove anymore. It's like, who can? No, it's like,
they say, I was going in a different direction.
They say when you, if you catch the fish, why dangle the bait anymore? It's like, I'm done. Just let this thing go, man. Who cares?
Why buy the cow when you get the milk for free? Right?
Yeah, I got mine. I'm done. Let's just let everything go. Just blah. We're done here, man.
That's my wardrobe choices and all of my healthy or unhealthy eating habits. I think, as soon as I got married, I was like, so I can just shop at Costco for clothes now and gain 40 pounds? Perfect. Let's go.
Dude, you are all about Costco.
Oh, dude, I think that's like, that's about like 60% of my personality these days. Is just Costco.
You vying for
Costco
sponsorship?
Dad.
Is that what we're talking about?
I'm trying. We just did another, I just posted on my Instagram the other day, or my wife posted, but sliding into some Costco deals. I mean, I wear Costco shirts at React. They like let me wear like my Costco swag. So there's another channel that they launched. It's called Junebeam. I don't know if you know that one. It's like the fashion channel they launched. And they haven't released the episode yet, but they like have different reactors come on and like show their style and interview them about that. And like my outfit is like just kirked up from head to toe. Kirkland shoes, Kirkland sweatpants, and a Kirkland sweatshirt. And they're like, this is what you want to wear? And I was like, this is me. And they're like, okay.
Kirked up, dude. I love it.
I always say it's hard to get worked up when you're kirked up. You know what I mean?
Oh my God. Too much chill, too much swag. I still I've heard of caked up, but kirked up.
I wish I was caked up. I'm more of a pancake ass than I am.
Thanks, Mom.
Wrong kind of cake. Yep.
Oh, man. Can't shake what your mama gave you. That's a shame.
Oh, no, I'll shake it. It's just not a lot of jiggle to it. Yeah.
Oh, well, don't let your dreams be dreams. Just keep pounding those Costco hot dogs. What are they, like the $2 hot dogs or something?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm a Costco ice cream sundae kind of guy, and then like just crushing a half of a pizza in my car before I go home.
Man, you are a Renaissance man, because we talked for 30 minutes about all this amazing food, walked through this amazing, and now you're talking about crushing Costco slices in your car.
Oh, dude, I'm like, I was raised on fast food. You know, my mom like didn't cook, so like I had every Happy Meal toy ever invented in the 90s because that was like a 3 times a week. Well, that was like, I wasn't joking about preserving myself from the inside. I'm like, there's probably formaldehyde just still left over from when I was a kid. But I still like, my wife is like such a detective. She'll be like, did you have Wendy's last night? And I'm like, how did you know that? She's like, I could smell it. And I'm like, she goes, no, I found the receipt in your car. And now with like fine friends, she's like, how was In-N-Out? And I'm like, it was good. I work at night, so it's like you get off work and there's that many choices. It's you know, fast food tends to be my go-to, which is not good. But I'm working on that. I tell myself I'm down to only 2 days a week of fast food instead of like 4, so that's good.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you could pretend there's healthy options at fast food as well, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I could pretend. I love to pretend.
Don't we all? I mean, ketchup obviously counts as a vegetable. That's what I've always told myself.
I'll allow it. It counts.
Yeah, for sure. I eat way too much fast food as well, so I'm right there.
Are you a Whataburger guy? You're a Texas guy, so.
Nah, Whataburger's too inconsistent. Well, one, they're slow, and then it's like Whataburger's notorious for screwing up your order. So,
really,
really worth it.
I've never had it. We don't have a Whataburger here in LA that I'm aware of, at least. But everyone tells me that Whataburger is better. Or Whataburger or Whataburger? How do you say it?
It's spelled what a burger, but everybody says it like it's water, like you're gonna drink it.
Waterburger.
Yeah, Whataburger.
Okay. I want to say it right. I want the right colloquial, pronunciation. I do voiceover, so I got to make sure it's right, spot on. Waterburger.
Yeah.
So what's your go-to? Give me your fast food. What's your top 3? What's your top 3?
It depends on what I'm in the mood for. So like a lot of times I'll be in the mood for spicy. So you could do. I mean, you got like talking spicy chicken sandwich. You
spicy chick sang from where?
You got Wendy's. That's okay. I mean, to me, I think that's the OG. Wendy's was like the OG spicy
100%, 100%. They were the first ones to do it, I think.
Yeah, spicy chicken nugs from Wendy's. They're pretty good. I like their barbecue sauce
for sure.
You got Popeyes. Their spicy chicken is pretty good. But Jesus, dude, like their service is so abysmally slow here.
It's so slow here too, man.
All right,
it's just like it's crazy. But Popeyes was like my Aunt Sue who did the ribs.
Yeah.
Any like time that there was like a get together, we would go like hang out like at a family get together in the park or whatever. She would roll through with the Popeyes, original and spicy. I loved Popeyes spicy chicken, the red beans and rice and the mashed potatoes. Like I freaking love Popeyes. That was like you just hit one. Some more goosebump feels thinking about Aunt Sue today. I miss her. But okay. So Wendy's, Popeyes. What's a Chick-fil-A? Have you had a Chick-fil-A spicy chicken sandwich?
It just doesn't do it for me. Like,
doesn't do it? Okay.
I think it's okay. It's not bad. I mean, Jesus chicken is good. I'm not kidding. Don't get me wrong. Like if you're gonna get your communion wafer with some chicken on it, I get the
In-N-Out's the same way. They have John 3:16 on the bottom of the cup too.
I get extra pickles on.
They're just less vocal about not being okay with people being gay. That's Chick-fil-A's like, yeah, we don't do the gay thing. I'm like, sweet Chick-fil-A. Thanks for being bigots as well as being,
I was gonna say, ironically, have you talked to 50% of your staff? Because it's
exactly.
That's like, I don't know. Jesus' money spends just as well, I guess. So they're still working there.
It's their pleasure to spend that money.
100%.
Okay, so Popeyes, Wendy's.
those are like, I don't know. I'm just saying that because like I could go for a spicy chicken sandwich right now. Maybe that's why that's in my head. Again, it's like I don't necessarily have a top, but like I'm thinking about what's near me in fast food. Do you guys have Freddy's? They do like these hamburgers that are really flat and they get crispy on the edge. That's nice.
Smash burger. I love smash burgers.
Hey,
That's like
go.
that's a big thing in LA right now. Like everyone does smash burgers. Burgers Never Say Die is my favorite smash burger, followed closely by Goldburger. It's incredible. Okay, so Freddy's.
Yeah, but they also do fried cheese curds on the side. So I'll substitute the French fries for fried cheese curds. So it is such a good combo.
We do not get cheese curds going on here in California. They don't know what's up. They
You're
don't
from
have
like
Culvers.
Midwest,
They don't
right?
have like Culvers here. You know what
Would
I mean?
you say you're from like Michigan?
I'm from Michigan. Yeah.
Yeah, dude. So you know all about cheese curds. and
Oh, we
various
love some
stuff.
dairy, man. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cheese curds are the jam. Oh, I love cheese curds.
Yeah,
Yum,
yeah,
yum.
yeah. I was in I think the best cheese curds I had actually were in Memphis, Tennessee. Believe it or not. There's a place called the Kooky Canuck, and they like FedEx in cheese curds from Canada weekly.
Okay, I was like, why the Canadian reference? Okay. the
Yeah,
Kooky
yeah,
Canuck.
yeah.
I like
yeah.
it.
It's really good. They have like a hero sandwich. Well, you're talking about red beans and rice. That makes me think of Galveston, Texas, by the coast. There's two places there. One is the Gumbo Diner. They have a really good gumbo.
yum.
Everything fresh. Like the okra is so fresh. The fried okra is good. But there's this place called Maceo
Love fried
Spice
okra.
Company. And they really they started out as just selling spices and stuff like that, but it's this old Italian family. And they do some amazing red beans and rice. And then they have these meatball sandwiches, and they have the red gravy or red sauce, like your marinara sort of thing.
Yeah.
And they do these meatballs with like a lump of like cheese inside. I think it's like a Gouda cheese or something. And they cook them, throw them in their red sauce, toasted like kind of like French bread roll. God, dude, it's
Yes.
so good.
Oh, I want a meatball sub now. That sounds
yeah.
amazing.
Yeah, they're so good, dude. Anyway, I love food, and I could continue to talk about food.
Man, I had to know.
For sure. But yeah, I don't know, man. Like, I love pizza. I love trash pizza. I love good pizza. I don't know. All pizza's good pizza, I guess. Although I'm not a Papa John's fan. Something about it just doesn't work for me.
Papa John's. No, it's not. It's whatever. I used to be like, oh yeah, Papa John's is good, and then I had good pizza, and I was like, nah. We make our own. We usually do like every Friday. My wife will either make like a traditional kind of like more thin crust, and she makes the dough and everything, or I'll do Detroit style, and I make like the focaccia dough, and we make our own.
Well, what's
So-
the difference between is
Detroit
Detroit?
style.
Do they do like the grandma pizza? Is that what like up in that area?
So Detroit style is basically Buddy's Pizza is like who's like credited for inventing it. They use blue steel pans that
Okay.
would be used in like the auto, on the line, like in factories is like where they would get this material. So they having that like right style pan where it can handle high heat, like 450 to 500 degrees, right? It's basically like focaccia and all the toppings. So you do the cheese first, and it's cubed cheese. And a lot of times it's like a low moisture Wisconsin brick cheddar. I'll do mine with mozzarella and cheddar. Like I like to have both. You line the cubes of cheese around the edges, and it forms like this cheesy crust on the side. And then you finish it with like a couple streaks of sauce and whatever toppings you want to put on there. And it's thick. It's not like a deep dish pizza though. It's literally, you know what focaccia is, right?
yeah, isn't that like
it's-
the bread where you like poke your fingers and it's kind
Yep,
of oily?
exactly. Yep. So it's basically very similar to that. It's like making focaccia essentially, and if it's done right, it's so good. Quarter Sheets is the best place in LA that does it. It's unbelievable. Yeah. So that's Detroit's little famous, pizza style, which is during the pandemic it like totally took off. And everyone in LA was doing a Detroit style pizza. They've got like Doughboys, Apollonia, all these different places that popped up that do incredible versions of it. But yeah, that's my jam. I love pizza, man. Absolutely love pizza.
Speaking of pizza, like in about 3 weeks, I'll just tell my wife to make sure not to listen to this episode. I'm taking her to Vegas for our anniversary, and neither of us gamble. Like we don't gamble at all, but there's just tons of crap to do there, right? And so I've like made this spreadsheet and this itinerary, and I'm putting it all together where we're just like packed of all this stuff. But
Wow.
for
You
the
and
food
my wife
choices,
would get along great.
dude,
She
I'm gonna
loves a good
maximize-
itinerary, man.
I'm a maximize the efficiency kind of person. Like that's what I've spent most of my life doing. is
We gotta
project
hang
management.
out because I need that. I'll bring. I'm just fun. I'm just fun to hang out with. You'll just have a good time, but I don't plan shit. I'm just along for the ride.
Oh,
Okay,
sometimes-
so where are you guys going? I'm sorry.
no,
I'll go
no,
off
no.
on a tangent about myself anytime. But
no.
where
I'm gonna
you-
ignore
where
the
are you going
entertainment
in
part.
Vegas?
But I'm planning on doing like a pizza tour of the town. Like I'm gonna find every pizza place. I'm gonna find the closest one adjacent to all the things we're gonna do, and I'm gonna like stack it up. So we're like,
Okay.
pop. She loves deep dish, which I know is controversial. I don't know why that's such a controversial thing.
I love deep dish too.
I like it
Chicago
too.
style deep dish. You mean?
Yeah.
Which
Yeah,
is actually not Chicago style pizza. Did you know that?
I did not know that.
So in Chicago, they will tell you that Chicago style pizza is like a square, super thin crust like pizza you'd get at a bar. And that deep dish or whatever, that's not real Chicago pizza, even though everyone calls it Chicago deep
Yes,
dish
dude.
outside of Chicago. That's only people in Chicago. I met my wife in Chicago, so that's why I know these little random tidbits. But okay, so she likes deep dish style,
Yeah,
like
she
Pizzeria
loves it.
Uno or something.
There's
Or
this
Gino's East.
place called Lou Malnati's, and you can.
Lumalnati's is the best. It's the best. I didn't
It's
think
the
you knew Lou Malnati's, so I
All
just
right,
didn't
bruh.
say it.
All right, bro. We've been to Chicago.
Oh.
We've eaten a bunch of deep dish.
Oh, dude, Lou Malnati's is tops for sure.
Now, did you know that every so often they run a coupon and they will like ship you like 3 Lou Malnati's deep dishes for like $50 or something?
What?
Yes,
Okay, can I
dude.
just really quickly say that I love how you pronounce coupon?
Oh,
Say,
okay.
say it again. Say it again. for me.
Coupon? I don't know. Oh, it's
My
just supposed to
wife-
be coupon, I guess.
My wife, she always says it's coupon. There's no letter Q in it. Everyone in Michigan, at least everyone in my family, it's coupon.
Coupon. Yeah.
We just had this talk yesterday at the school. I wish Lindsay was still here to hear this. She's gonna watch this, so I'm like, "See, Lindsay, it's coupon." Ha! Okay, so Lou Malnati's shipping pizza, but okay, so where are you
Yeah.
going in Vegas? What are you doing? You're going to what shows are you going to see?
Oh
'Cause
man,
You said you don't gamble, so I assume you're going for like some
tons of
Cirque du
shows.
Soleil or something. or-
Yeah. Well, I mean, I can always pull up my spreadsheet and I could go through it. No, she wants to see like she's like a fitness instructor, so she used to do like a lot of dancing stuff. So she wants to see like
cool.
the Jabberwockies. I'm thinking you got to do the classics like Blue Man Group. We've seen Cirque du
Fun from
Soleil.
Down Under, just for her.
Yeah. Let's see. There's some others. You know what, dude? Like something I'm going to try out. I don't know if you're into it, but I love escape rooms. Like that. Maybe somebody who's
Done one ever in my life,
Okay.
and it was with Nicole Izuka, like the producer, the head of creative React. Like it was with her and her husband and a couple of our friends. We all paid like $40 to get in, and her husband Kale solved it in about 4 minutes.
bro.
To the point where the guy who's in the room is like, "No, maybe it's not that, it's this." He goes, "Nope, it's this. Here, solved it, bang." And I'm like, "What did we just paid $40 for that?" I was like, "This sucks. Is this how escape rooms are?" I solved nothing. Oh, I was like, "Oh, this is a cool little prop. Look at all these things they've done." And he's like, "And we're done. And we're out of the room." And I'm like, "Wait, what? Well, I thought it just started." The guy was like in the middle of his spiel. He's like telling about the ghosts or whatever, and they were done.
Oh, dude. It sounds like a bad
Never done one again.
escape room. It sounds like a poorly designed escape room because this should take.
It was everyone was like, that was like the easiest, dumbest escape room. They're like, you got to do a real one. And I'm
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I'm into it. I like solving puzzles. I like.
yeah.
I'm also there just for comedic support too. You know?
Just to maybe be annoying and kind of in the way sometimes.
Yeah, definitely, just to
Yeah.
hinder the progress a little
Yeah.
bit.
Everybody needs a Gilligan. You know. You gotta keep things
Where's my
interesting.
hat?
to the
Where's
group.
my hat?
No, but like in Vegas, they have like really interesting escape rooms. So they're like super immersive, where they have like actors in there, like as part of the experience and stuff. And so they have, and I haven't picked which one yet, but they have 3 that are interesting. They have one based on the movie Saw. So essentially, these are like horror or like haunted houses mixed with escape rooms. So they've got one based on Saw, one based on Blair Witch, and one based on like It, the movie. So I think it's going to be like pretty wild. I'm like super stoked for that. It's gonna be kind of crazy. Then there's this show called Potted Potter, which is
Potted Potter. Okay.
yeah, it's like a stage production that's just supposed to be completely insane, and they're essentially compressing all 7 Harry Potter movies into one like 60-minute run, and it's supposed to just be completely bonkers. So
I love it.
yeah, I'm
Sounds
looking
fun.
for the absolute weirdest things I possibly can. Like I want to see some strange things.
And the boys are with you, or it's just you and your wife?
Just me and my wife. Yeah,
Nice.
and my wife. There's
My wife.
I've learned there's two types of vacation. There's family vacation and there's a real vacation. Because when you're on a family vacation, you're so busy trying to entertain everybody. Like, where are your shoes? Where did you leave your shoes? Do we have enough snacks? And just it's like
That hits close to home. I'm
you're
like,
just there as a facilitator. Like we've literally been on family vacations where we've been driving for an hour and we're getting ready to pull over. We look down and we're like, where are your shoes? He's like, I don't know. So we have to go and buy shoes. It's like, dude.
No, you're like, I left them at the rest stop that we went to.
Yeah.
I figured I'd just take them off at the urinal. That seemed like a good place.
Just had to let my toes breathe.
Yeah, I just want to be in the splash zone. You know what I mean?
Yes, dude.
You're tall. You understand what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
When you pee at a urinal, urinals aren't designed for tall people. You get some backsplash. So people are like, what? How did you pee on your stomach? I'm like, it's possible if you're tall, okay? You get enough reflecting back off.
Dude, there's a restaurant we went to in town yesterday. Literally the urinal, one of the, because they always have a tall urinal and a short urinal.
Sure.
And somebody's in the tall one, so I have to use the short one. And the short one, it's literally the top of the urinal is below my waist. I was like, this is going to end poorly.
This is for a child. Yeah, absolutely.
Yes. Interesting issues, which is why, it's like, you got to get a little distance, got to get a little bit back. Anyway, I digress. That reminds me of this meme picture I saw where it was like, showed a picture of like a gun and it had like an X on the middle of the toilet. And then it had a gun with a silencer and it pointed to the very side of the toilet. And I was like, I get this reference. Yeah.
Nice. I like that. Yes.
Same thing with urinals. You got to limit the splash. You got to
you got to pee on
hit
the side.
Stream. Yeah. Hit the side, kind of ease into it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, this has really devolved. You and I are just like 12-year-old boys at this point.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Okay.
Poo poo pee pee. Absolutely. That's funny. It's just good old fashioned fun,
gosh.
you know?
You know what? Your energy, what it really reminds me of, and what I would, and I don't know if there's some crazy way that this could ever happen, but down here in Texas, we have the Alamo Draft House. I think you guys have some of those out your direction now, but it's essentially a movie theater where you sit down and they'll bring you food and drinks. And this was like revolutionary.
Yeah.
When they started.
We've got theaters like that. Yeah. I Pick, I think is what it's called.
Yeah. Well, down here, because I remember it was the year 2000 when I was in high school.
Well, I remember.
Yeah, right at the end of high school, there's this show. It used to be called Mr. Sinus Theater 3000. And they got cease and desist from Mystery Science Theater 3000. So it's essentially a live version of that.
Oh. I thought you were just saying Mystery Science Theater weird. I was like,
did
you say Mystery Sinus? Sinus. Like
yeah.
Okay,
so then they cease and desist. They changed it to now it's Master Pancake Theater. And essentially they have these comics that are just sitting up there cracking wise the entire show. About halfway through, they stop and they do a skit. And it's always insane. There's this tall, bald guy named John Early. You almost always see him in his red underwear. It's an experience. But like your energy is just like off the charts for that kind of thing. Like if there's some way that we could possibly in the universe make that collaboration happen, like I think that would be so insane. Like I'm
open to it.
I could see you literally doing that every week because they do it like 2 or 3 weeks out of the month, and it's like a different movie, right? I mean, sometimes it's like actually like a good movie. So I've seen like The Matrix there.
Okay.
But they're
still just cracking jokes and I mean,
yeah.
I will definitely talk during a movie and annoy people for sure. I have that skill set locked in.
And get paid to do it. That would be amazing. Yeah.
And get paid. Okay, we'll rock and roll. Let's go.
Yeah, I could totally see you do it. Like you give me such energy for that. It's so bonkers.
I know people are always like, "Do you do a lot of cocaine? Like what is it?" I'm like, "No, actually, I don't really like coke because that makes me shut up." I'm so ADD that a stimulant just makes me focus. I'm like, yeah, tell me all about your dead relative. I'm like, yeah.
Oh, Jesus. You know what? I'm looking down and I'm seeing that like we have all but consumed all of the time I'd put on the calendar. Like I
apologize. Yeah.
I apologize.
Myself, man. I
apologize because this is I want to keep going, but I also want to be respectful of your time, and I don't want to totally use all of your time here.
No worries. I do have some work that I have to do, but that's okay. I got a couple more voiceover auditions I've got to record before
I've got another 2 hours or so.
See, we didn't even talk about your voice work in here, like, and all that. Anyway, I digress. Like I don't want to get you started again, because then you'll get me started, and then it's just going to be a whole thing. So let's stick a fork in this thing. So, Jayse, do you have anything coming up that you want to like promote? Anything you want to push? Anything you're fired up about? What are we talking about?
Yeah, I'm fired up. I got a like an on-camera agent about a year ago in Los Angeles, and I've primarily just been doing voiceover for like the last 13 years and 14 years going on now. God, that's crazy.
Long time.
So, and I've done some on-camera stuff in the past, and through the pandemic, I just kind of stopped. I was doing improv and stuff, and then everything just shut down. But now I'm getting back into it. I've been auditioning a lot, and I booked something. I booked like just a little film. I'm going to have like one line in it, but I got to be on set in like 10 days. And it's going to be the first time I've been on set in a while. It's a little short film called Shift. I don't know where it'll end up. Maybe it'll end up in some festivals, but I'm just super excited because that gives me life, man. Performing in that way, it's just like it charges you up. It's such a natural high. I love to be on stage. I love to perform. I love to be on set. And that's something I'm super excited about. So
that's dope, man. Well, if people want to interact with you, I mean, you've got a website. You want to plug that?
Yeah, Jayse OBrein.com. If you want some voiceover coaching, come check it out. Buy my digital download course. Click the link right there that Greg's going to link for me right there.
100%. Yeah, well, that's all going to be done.
And follow me on Jaystagram. And of course, tune in to React and People versus Food and Bullseye and all the fun stuff that we got going on the YouTubes.
All right, that's dope, man. I appreciate you. Appreciate your time. Appreciate your energy, dude. Like, I'm gonna ride off this for probably like 2-3 weeks, give or take.
Hell yeah, man.
I mean, good. I don't even know sure if I'll be able to sleep tonight. It's gonna be insane.
I love it. Well, tell your wife and your kids. I say hey. I know you said you and your wife are fans, so
100%. Oh yeah.
Tell her I say what up.
I'll do it. Actually, I won't. I'll say like, yeah, he didn't say shit about you. Sorry. Let me stop all this stuff real quick.
Recording stopped.